Hello and welcome back to Carrying On with me, Julian, here, coming to you from sunny Thailand again this afternoon. Um, Welcome back. And today I want to talk about one of the legends of jazz and maybe the greatest ever African jazz pianist, Abdullah Ibrahim, who died last week on June the 15th. And yes, he died at the age of 91, lived a long life, a very full, very interesting life. And he really was one of the great pioneers of African jazz. Born in 1934, in I think 1959, he released the first ever South African jazz album, along with Hugh Masekela and the rest of his band from Johannesburg. So he really was there, right at the forefront not only of African jazz, but really of jazz there, the heyday of jazz in the late 1950s, early 60s. He was right there and a complete pioneer for South Africa in particular um, as a pianist. And yeah, for me personally, I uh, I started listening to him on vinyl. And today, what I'd like to talk about is some of his records, which mean a lot to me. I've got here three pieces of vinyl, three CDs, and three from streaming, which I've enjoyed. One or two just actually recently in the last week by listening again and doing a bit of research into Abdullah Ibrahim. Um, yeah, I've discovered one or two more albums. So at the end, I'll just mention them. But yeah, let's start off with the vinyl, shall we? And yeah, I think this was really the first time I ever listened to Abdullah Ibrahim, or as he was known in his early days, of course, Dollar Brand. Yes, he was called Dollar Brand until 1968 when he converted to Islam, changed his name. Um, but this album, you can see, is called African Portraits, and it's solo. It's solo jazz. So yeah, I'm looking at a variety of different bands that he played in and styles. This is solo piano. I'm going to look at some trio and larger bands and even classical influences that he had during his career. But he is quite well known for some of his solo work, rather like Keith Jarrett as well. Not quite as improvisational as him, but although sometimes he could be, he could do these kind of great improvisational flourishes too. But this one is all solo from 1973. I think he was back. He was back in South Africa because in the mid 60s he went to live in Europe and then in New York, and he kind of spent the rest of his life between those three uh, uh, continents. South Africa, Europe, and America. But he did have a base in New York. But he was back in the mid 70s. He was back in South Africa making albums, and he made this one, African Portraits, which is yeah, it's great. Actually, having a decent hi-fi and decent record player now, much better one than I had 25 years ago. Yeah, this sounds really great. Actually, it's a really good sounding record. I really enjoyed it. Listening to that again actually this week. And the second one I bought was this one. I think I bought these just for like probably £2 or £3 in a bargain as a vinyl bargain back in about 2000 when I was first buying records. I tend to just buy cheap things, buy blind, as we say, and pick things up on impulse. And this was going cheap. Again, largely solo, this one, although there is a little bit of flute at the start of the album, as it says there, Dollar Brand playing the flute and piano. So again, this is an earlier album before he changed his name. Um, yeah, and I think although this may have been recorded in the 70s as well. Yeah, 1973. For some reason though, he put it under the name Dollar Brand, even though he changed his name. He was still sometimes using the Dollar Brand name, which was a pretty cool name, really, wasn't it? Dollar Brand, a combination of his nickname with his surname as a uh, as a calling card as an early in the early days as a musician. Pretty good name, Dollar Brand. But yeah, he changed it. But for this album, actually, again, this was released in 1980, so he was well into his time as Abdullah Ibrahim. Yeah, again, they it was labeled Dollar Brand again here, and this is African Marketplace, one of his most famous albums, actually, really. And yeah, listening to it again, it's great to hear. There's some great dynamics on this record because this one includes a full band. We're moved away from the solo piano stuff, which is an acquired taste. It takes a bit of concentration to keep to keep listening to solo piano sometimes. But this is great. This is really varied. Much larger band in place here. There's a song called the Wedding, which has became a famous like standard of his. Really, African Marketplace. A lot more African rhythms in here. Really quite funky at times here, and some great dynamics on this record. It sounds great. The way the brass sections come out as well, and the more African style drumming on here, and yeah, quite funky at times, but also some more reflective pieces in here. But really reflecting on his, maybe his early days in South Africa, and obviously a much more traditional vibe here, as you can see on the cover there. And but it's a great record, and yeah, and yeah, this is 1980, so the start of the 80s. But so that's the vinyl I've got. Now my CDs, I did a bit of research. This was probably 15 years ago. I bought these CDs. I bought them all at once on Amazon, and I was doing research on what to buy, what CDs to buy for Abdullah Ibrahim, and they all came back with these 1970s, um, compilations of 1970s music. I think originally re-released on this Camden label in the 1980s, 1988. And this first one here, this is great. This has got Black Lightning on, which starts with these bolts of rumbling thunder and bolts of lightning at the start of the record. And it's a really funky kind of more African vibes in this one, recorded in South Africa. Little Boy's really great. Cranked that up yesterday. Sounded great, really funky. Black and Brown Cherries, track 3 here. Some of these tracks quite long. That one's great though as well. And then a ballad, track 4, and then a famous tune, Manenberg is Where It's Happening, which became a kind of South African unofficial anthem, I think, at the time in the 1970s. Manenberg being a particular maybe like kind of township area, I think, of Johannesburg. But yeah, great. Over 30 minutes that tune. It goes on a bit like kind of Fela Kuti style, kind of call and response, kind of funky horns, great rhythm section, and yeah, it's a great tune. So yeah, this is a good one. This is prime 1970s Abdullah Ibrahim. The second one is called Blues for a Hip King, which is a bit more relaxed. It's got uh, the first 6 tunes have got kind of a full jazz band, including Blue Mitchell on the trumpet and the flugelhorn, which is really great on a couple of tunes. I think they're my favorite 2 tunes actually. Sweet Basil Blues and Blues for a Hip King. That 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 one is absolutely great. The title track. It's just 10 minutes of really beautiful, really mellow vibe with the sax solos, followed by 2 solos from Blue Mitchell on the flugelhorn and Abdullah Ibrahim on a kind of electric keyboards. Yeah, that's really great tune. That I think that's my favorite on this. And the second half is a trio, which is pretty good too. But I think the highlights come maybe on the first half of this CD. Worth picking up if you're into your 70s, Abdullah Ibrahim. And the third one is African Sun, which is a bit more mixed. It has some great stuff on here, but you have to be in the mood maybe for some of it, for the kind of more African vibe here. But there's one tune which is my absolute, I think, favorite Abdullah Ibrahim track, which is track 5, Satima. And the way this is so funky, it's got a fantastic bass line, fantastic piano, the kind of African style piano that Abdullah Ibrahim sometimes play, kind of more kind of the harpsichord kind of vibe, like a higher treble sound in the piano. It sounds fantastic on this tune, and this tune goes on, I think, for 11 minutes, and there's never a dull moment on that tune. It's so funky, beautiful melodies which just get their hooks into me. and great horns as well, combining with his really beautiful piano playing on that tune. Track seven's also good here. Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Kind of soul jazzy vibes here. More Western soul jazz vibes on that tune, and a lot of it is more, yeah, rolling. Track three also good. So there is some really good stuff on here. The highlights are really good on this one. Again, this is 1974. I think that kind of time. He's back in South Africa, and I think in 1976, when the ANC get kicked out, and uh, and apartheid really takes hold again there. He leaves South Africa again, goes back into exile. I think largely in New York, and yeah, but there was a little window when those three CDs, a lot of the music on those three CDs were made back in the mid 70s before he left in 76, and went on to record in Europe and the USA for many years. Yeah, let's go on to my three maybe more recent uh, discoveries. I've known about this album actually for a while, but I only really listened to it properly in the last week or so. But this is a really good one. Abdullah Ibrahim, Cape Town Flowers. It's a trio album, this one. And yeah, it's really great, really reflective, simple originals. They don't outstay their welcome, but it's in a nice, a really good trio, really well recorded, lovely cymbal sounds, and nicely recorded rhythm section here as well. Really good, solid trio album. If you're into into your trio albums, you probably know that one. And then this is an interesting one because he also studied classical music. I think he went to Juilliard, and he became classically trained as well. And he made this album back in the 80s. I think it was 1988, maybe. He made African Suite for trio and string orchestra. And yeah, this is something a little bit different. I thought I'd mention it's great. It's maybe more for me, maybe a little bit more background music. Maybe doesn't hold my attention with these lovely, but really lovely, lush strings combined with Abdullah Ibrahim's playing and his melodies and his orchestrations, I guess. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think I need to go back to this and listen again, and maybe in the right mood, it really grabs me. But I really enjoyed listening to this as something a little bit different. I don't often listen to string laden jazz, but this is good. And Abdullah Ibrahim knows what he's doing. He's not just lobbing some strings on. It's interesting album, and yeah, certainly very enjoyable background listening. But I'm sure put it to the foreground and turn it up, it's great too. Now the third one, I think this is my favorite of my recent discoveries, is Soto Blue, Abdullah Ibrahim and Akaya, which was his kind of 1980s band that he put together, or rhythm section and horns band that he put together, more kind of European style, a bit more kind of subdued and reflective in style, less kind of exuberant African style. But I love this actually. And the opening track, um, uh, Calypso, is fantastic. It's got a wonderful kind of a funky bass line going through it. And track four, Nisa, as well, is really excellent. Yeah, it's really well recorded as well. That first song, yes, Calypso Minor, track one. Wow, that is one of my favorite Abdullah Ibrahim tunes, I think. Just it's an addictive tune. Really enjoyed that. And the whole album is great. As I said, really well recording. Another version of The Wedding from African Marketplace. Yeah, really enjoyed uh, this one. Soto Blue on by you can listen to that on Spotify. Really well recorded. So there we go, nine albums, which I really enjoy by Abdullah Ibrahim. Um, yeah, who Nelson Mandela famously called once our Mozart. Yeah, which I thought was a rather nice quote from Nelson Mandela. Certainly one of the great jazz pianists. who was there, in the late 50s and played all the way through until recently. A couple of years ago, he played in London. So he was nearly 90 then. So what a life led by Abdullah Ibrahim, formerly Dollar Brand. And yeah, uh, a great pianist with a variety of different styles, which I really like. You've got the African influence, you've got the European influence, Thelonious Monk influences in there. We've got the kind of soul jazz influences at times, but he can also he stacks up as a solo pianist as well. He's got the technique and even the classical influences. How about you? What are your favorite Abdullah Ibrahim or Dollar Brand albums? What does he mean to you? Any stories for you? Have you seen him? Did you ever see him live? That would have been pretty amazing. I never did myself, but yeah. Are any of these albums your favorites as well? Stick a comment below if if they are, or if you have some other recommendations, which I don't know. I don't pretend to be a an expert on his entire back catalogue, which is pretty extensive. Not all of it available on Spotify. Those three CDs are not available on Spotify, so you have to hunt around for things a bit and try to work out the discography a bit. But there are gems out there for sure in his extensive back catalogue. Right, well that's me done for today. Thank you very much for watching and listening again to me carry on about records, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. But for now, from me, Julian, bye bye, and I'll see you next time. I'll carry on.